Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we talk about problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with a video.
I, female 28, have recently joined my dad's office, who's a real estate tycoon. I have always been interested in business and had this dream to join my dad in his business one day. I completed my bachelor's in business administration and went abroad for a master's degree. As soon as I returned, my dad offered me a seat in his office, which was a dream come true. My brother, 25, is also done with his degree, but was not able to secure admission for a master's abroad because of his poor CGPA. He is a careless and irresponsible brat mainly, because my mom never tried to culture him and supported him in whatever he did, which was a waste of time mostly. He was never interested in our dad's office or any other profession. For him, he had everything he needed and could have everything he wanted, so there was no need for him to get up and struggle. My dad is an entrepreneur and has built everything on his own, so he expects a lot from his kids and wants us to achieve something big like him. To my dad, my younger brother is a total loser. As I have mentioned already, that my mom takes my brother's side a bit too much, which has spoiled him a lot, and my dad, who has always built up pressure to achieve perfection, there has always been a tussle going on in our home. My brother would stay outside late at night, would not return home sometimes, and would also be found drugged when he would come back home. My dad has always been pissed at him, but my mom never let dad intervene and knock some sense into my brother. My mom always acted like a bulletproof jacket for my brother. This only made the situation worse. He always brought bad grades, would waste time in the ill company, and never listened to anyone in the house. One night, police arrived at our house and informed my dad that my brother had hit the car into some pedestrian who was badly injured, so they were there to arrest my brother. We had to hand him over to the police. My dad was devastated and torn apart. A huge fight broke out between my parents in which my mom was constantly asking my dad to do something, while my dad was saying that it was her mistakes that brought this day. Well, my dad managed to get my brother a bail and also bore the expense of that injured person. My dad got hopeless in my brother's case, and now all his expectations revolved around me. I have always been my dad's favorite child, and it is already clear why so. When I moved back after my master's degree and joined the office, I was allowed to move separately, and my dad gifted me a double-story house. He told me that it was a gift for being an amazing kid. I was living separately with all the protocols, and you can imagine how wonderful it was. My brother was still living with my parents and was not allowed to move out because of his irresponsible nature and whereabouts. Also, my mom was very concerned about his well-being and could never let him live alone all by himself. It was somehow right because he was not capable of managing everything on his own. My brother was pissed because my dad supported me in everything. I could not understand him as I had earned my dad's trust in me and had proved myself of being capable and responsible. All he did was waste his time and money, and now wanted to move out, which my dad would never allow. My brother told my dad that he deserved to be treated equally, and my dad could not favor one child over the other, to which my dad said that if my brother wanted to move out, he can move out on his own, and my dad would not even spend a penny on him, as he was already wasting a lot of money. My mom supported my brother and asked my dad to arrange a house for him, or at least an apartment, so he might move out and learn to manage things on his own. My mom had to take his side because he was getting harsher with every passing day and would not let go of his demand. My dad told him that if he wanted to move out, and that too with our dad's help, he had to secure admission for a master's degree abroad. My brother knew it was impossible, but he could not afford to live with my parents under 24/7 supervision, so he said that he could move in with me. I was surprised and declined instantly. He supported his idea, saying that my house had 2 stories and he could easily shift to one of them. My mom said it was great because she would not have to worry about her little kiddo. My dad said he will think about it. I'm planning to discuss the whole issue with my dad in the office away from any interference. I talked to my dad in the office in detail and put forward all my concerns. I told him that I had earned everything and that house belonged to me only. I had worked hard to enjoy this lifestyle and could not let my brother have his part in something he never worked for or even tried for. I told him that I had my own privacy and was old enough to live my life on my own without any interference. I clearly told him that I was against my brother's idea and would not let him move into my house. My dad told me that he would talk to my mom and decide what was suitable. My dad called me to talk things over, so I went to see what they were up to. My dad told me that my mom wanted my brother to move in with me because he could not be left on his own. I asked her why she would not keep him with her and take care of him, as he was not my responsibility. My mom told me that I was being mean and could not see my brother enjoy what I was already enjoying. I told her that her son could work hard and earn that lifestyle, but he loves to be carried by someone else, as he is too weak to carry his own responsibility. I told her that it was my life and my achievements that he wanted to enjoy, and I could be mean about it. My mom did not listen and told everyone that if my brother was moving out, he was moving out with me, or he could just stay there with them. But as my brother was not ready to stay there, my dad had to announce that he was moving in with me. I talked to my dad separately, and he told me that he would think of something soon, and until then I would have to bear him in the upper story of my house. My brother had moved into the upper story of my house and had already turned it into hell. Loud music would blast in the middle of the night, and I had to apologize to my neighbors so many times. He calls his friends over who stay here for days, and they turn the upper story into a trash bin. I have told him several times that it was not the way to live in someone's house, and he had to behave better, to which he would say that he did not move in here to still follow the curfew, as he was done with our parents' supervision. I have talked to my dad several times, but he is too busy to think of something else. My work life has also been affected adversely, as I could not sleep properly, and my whole routine was messed up. Only if I could kick him out of my place and live peacefully afterward, but the situation was getting worse. My brother allowed 3 of his friends to move into the upper story. I did not know about it and thought they were here for the weekend only. My guard informed me that those 3 guys were constantly there for a week now. I went upstairs and knocked on the door. When one of them opened it, I asked where my brother was, and he went to fetch him. I stepped inside, and it looked like I was entering a junkyard. My brother came out of one of the rooms and asked why I was there. I asked him why his friends were there for so many days and when they were leaving. He told me that they were not going anywhere, as he had allowed them to stay with him because he would feel lonely sometimes. I told him that it was unacceptable and he had to send them away, or I was going to take harsh steps. He told me that I could do whatever I wanted to him, but he was not going to kick his friends out of the house. I could not stand there and argue, as I was getting late for the office, so I just left the place. I called him from the office and told him to kick his friends out of my house before I returned in the evening, or I would have to involve our dad. He told me that we would talk about it in the evening. When I returned from the office, he was standing on the lawn and greeted me. I went to him and asked what his decision was. He told me that he was allowed to use the upper story, so why could he not allow anyone to stay with him? I told him it was my house and I was the one who would decide if anyone could move in or not. I threatened him that if he did not make his friends leave, I was going to tell our dad everything. He yelled that no matter what I did and how competent I was, he was the son of the family and owned everything equally. He also told me that Dad would not always be there to take my side, and he would deprive me of our dad's will as soon as he got the hold, so I better mind my own business. I could not believe what he had said and went inside my house. I told my dad the whole story, also about what he had said about the will. My dad got furious and went to my house with me. He went upstairs, held my brother by his arm, and told his friends to leave ASAP. My dad took my brother with him and announced that he was going to live with our parents because he did not deserve any favors. My brother just messed up everything for himself, and I am glad he is in a better place now. NTA, you worked hard for everything and deserve the life you achieved for yourself. You tried to tackle the situation, but your mom was not ready to give in. It is commendable that you did not let your brother take over and fought for yourself till the end. I am glad your dad supported you throughout the situation and tried to protect your concerns. I hope you do not get to go through any such drama anymore. NTA, OP's brother is a piece of shit. He was not able to achieve anything in his life and depended on others. OP's mom literally played a vital role in spoiling him and supporting him with every bullshit he was up to. He was not interested in anything productive and just wanted an escape from the supervision so he could achieve the worst of himself. OP's dad acted like a hero when he kicked the brother's friends out and took the brother back where he really belonged.
Next story.
Me, 27, female, and my boyfriend Liam, 28, have been together for 9 months. 4 months in our relationship, he told me he was thinking about growing his beard and hair and asked for my input. I told him to go for it, but I also warned him that it was a lot of work and care. I really insisted on that because he is not big on skincare or taking care of himself. Before he met me, he didn't have face cream or anything like that. Fast forward to now, and he is not taking care of it at all. In the last 5 months, his hair and beard grew a lot, but he does nothing about it. He never took a barber appointment for a trim or anything. His hair is quite greasy, and he washes it only 1 time a week. I bought him some special shampoo and hair conditioner, but he never uses it. His hair is always tied, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't brush it. I keep asking him to take better care of it, but he doesn't listen. Honestly, I can't even put my hand through his hair, something that I love to do. It's becoming hard for me to even touch it. For the beard, it is the same thing. In the last 5 months, he never trimmed it, so it's quite long and uneven. It's also very dry and patchy. I also bought him a special care package for beard with scissors, oil, and everything needed. He never used it. I also tried to book him several appointments to the barber, but he said he doesn't have time for it. In a last resort, I watched a lot of tutorials and asked some male friends with beards to teach me so I could do it, but he refused. He got to a point where it even covers his lips. We spent the weekend together and went to a restaurant with some friends, and it was hard watching him eat. He had food everywhere, and someone at the table commented on it. One of his friends asked me in private how I could kiss him. This made me realize that the thought of kissing at this very moment was not appealing to me at all. When we got back to his place, I tried to talk to him about it again and asked him to take a barber appointment. He refused. I got mad, and I asked him to cut everything, that it was becoming very hard for me to be attracted to him like that. It became a big argument, and I left. Since Saturday, he has refused to answer my text or calls. He only sent me a long text calling me shallow and selfish. He accused me of only caring about his appearance and not who he really is as a person. I tried talking about it with some friends, and some of them agree with me, but others are saying that if I really loved him, I should not have asked him to change his appearance. I am starting to think that maybe it was not right for me to ask him something like that, and that I should have been more indulgent. NTA, bro, that's disgusting. What if you stopped taking care of yourself? Stop washing your hair and body? He'd be grossed out. Also, he asked for your input and you gave it. You've been kind and passive in trying to get him to take care of himself, and he embarrassed you in front of your friends. It's in the wrong. NTA, I'm just so curious why you're dating someone who cannot take care of themselves. He's allowed to grow his hair out, but he's not even taking care of himself. You shouldn't have asked him to clean himself. He's an adult. I realized the first sentence sounded a little mean, and that wasn't my intention at all. What I wanted to insinuate was that you shouldn't have to teach someone to wash themselves.
Next story.
My friend is a wedding dress designer. When she found out I was engaged, she really got excited because she wanted to design my dress. I originally said yes, but I told her my maximum budget and she ended up telling me the dress would cost 3 times as much. I told her I couldn't afford it, but she kept saying my fiancé, who is paying for everything related to the wedding, should be willing to spend whatever he had to give me the perfect dress. She even brought it up in front of him and other friends to try to get him to increase the budget. The thing is, my fiancé never gave me a budget, so he was just confused by everything she was saying. He said I could spend whatever I wanted, but I didn't want to be one of those brides who spends a ridiculous amount of money on a wedding that I wasn't paying for myself. I came up with a budget because it helped me feel less overwhelmed and guilty for letting him pay for everything. My friend did eventually concede and say it was fine that she wouldn't be designing my dress. Things were fine between us until she found out the dress I bought was way more than she had quoted me. It wasn't intentional. My sister-in-law surprised me with an appointment with the designer who designed her wedding dress and banned the designer from telling me how much anything would cost. I fell in love with the dress and had no idea how much it cost until after. When I showed my friends the dress, my designer friend immediately said I couldn't have gotten that dress within my budget and kept pressing me on how much it cost until I admitted it. She was really upset with me and told me if I didn't want her to design my dress, I should have just been honest instead of lying to her. She implied I didn't want her designing my dress because she was a small local designer, which isn't true, but one of my other friends said it did seem that way. I don't know if she's going to come to the wedding now since she's so upset with me and hasn't responded to any of my texts. AITA? Okay, but you did lie. You told her you couldn't afford it. That's not true. Obviously, because your fiancé said to spend whatever you wanted, and you wound up spending way more on different dress. You created your own personal budget, but there was, in reality, no budget at all. So yeah, I get where your friend is coming from. NAH, ultimately, you don't have to let your friend design your wedding dress, but she's absolutely correct in feeling that you lied because you sorta did. ESH, you suck for falling in love with a dress without knowing how much it cost and not considering your imaginary budget that you gave your friend the excuse of why you didn't want her to design the dress. She sucks for pressuring you to let her design your dress. No is a complete sentence. Don't give reasons for anything. Just say no.